Now that we have created our assignment, we're going to start entering in some student scores. We are going to work with this assignment that we created within Synergy. If you're working with one that was created in Google Classroom and synced its way to Synergy, that works a little bit differently. But first, we're going to work with this one where we type in scores. And as we are typing, you'll notice it looks like the score is disappearing. But if you actually scroll up using your scroll wheel on your mouse, you'll see that those scores are entering themselves in. I also have a little symbol here because I turned that on within my options. It's the fill down option. Remember, if I clicked here, the fill down grades option toggle needs to be turned on for this to appear. But if I want to go ahead and put in a 40 for everyone, if I click once, it's going to fill in everything that's blank. If I double click, it overwrites everything below it. So let's say I accidentally did that. I'm going to go ahead and delete it and double click and it will overwrite. And that's the fill down option. Something else you can do on here is your comment codes. So we set those up under the Gradebook setup, and each comment code has a different set of options that affects the grade and various other things. For example, if I type in a Z code, that is set up so that it will apply a 0, and you'll see that applies to the overall grade. If I want to use an excused, it will simply type in and affect nothing. And that is a comment code that I created on my own because it's not included with the ones that are defaulted with the program. If I wanted to type in a lower grade here because the student was absent and I wanted to indicate that that may have been it, I can type in the absent code. So I'm going to type in a score, a space, and then the code. And when I press enter, it will do both apply the score and leave the comment there. Now, something that is also part of the settings for comment codes is the Z is set to delete when I type in a score. So let's say this student had a 0 on this, but they ended up taking the test or doing the assignment. It will actually delete that. Same thing with the X. I said that they're excused, but they ended up doing it anyway and got a 40, so it removes that. Now, the absent code and a couple others are a little different where I can actually adjust this score, but that code stays there. And it's a little bit challenging and tricky to get rid of a code that has that setting. But the trick lies in this toggle up here in the top right. We talked about this underneath options. It's called grade detail. And when you turn that on, you have this new option that when you click on grades to type them in, you get this pop-up window. And one of the options it gives you is over here are comment codes that I can click on and remove it. I can also do notes that are both private and public, as well as seeing a brief overview of some of the students' information. Now, when I am ready to fill in the rest of these grades, I can, again, do my fill down and then make adjustments as I go. Now, let's take a look real quick at this assignment here, which is the one that has been created on Google Classroom. If I click on the G, it opens up my Google Classroom and I can go ahead and just type grades in there and it will sync. But let's say I have changed my mind and I just want to type them in directly into my gradebook. I'm going to need to go into my assignment. Again, it's going to bring me to course items, and I can actually unlock that from Google, and it has now severed that connection. So anything I do on the Google side will no longer show up in the gradebook because I have canceled that out. I'm going to close that after it's auto-saved. And now I should be able to type in here. Now, one sort of finicky thing I've noticed is sometimes when I do a change on here, it doesn't take right away, and I'll need to go to Gradebook, My Gradebook, to kind of refresh the screen and make that happen again. And now I can click on these, and I'm going to turn off that grade detail. I can click on these and go ahead and type in grades. Now, let's say I go ahead and type in a few grades here. And now I've decided, you know what? I want to go ahead and resync that again with Google. I want to reconnect it. I'm going to grade the rest of these on Google. I can go back in here and I can click on now relock it to Google. It'll save itself up here on autosave and I can close it. And now it's been relocked to Google and I can no longer click or change any of these grades and has been resynced.